This is not the story I want to tell, but it's a story I'm going to tell because it's hilarious. And I think it's hilarious for a very sad fact. The people that our younger generation, they don't know anything about the world, I don't believe. I think that's why comedy has been stripped away because they don't have the context in which to know why it's funny. For them, I think it's just words because they've never been outside, they've never engaged with the world, they don't know how to use these meat hooks to do anything useful. And, they'll use your thumbs all day long, but whatever. So, anyways, welcome to Shaggy Dad. I'm going to get my hair cut this weekend because oh, well, I look about 2 weeks away from looking like the crazy guy in the home. But, anyways, maybe I am. I posted this on Facebook the other day, and it came from another overlanding group on Facebook and whatnot. And I thought it was kind of funny, especially because we have a whole bunch of people going like, "Oh my God, they're rolling out 5G," and I'm pretty sure they did the same thing when they rolled out the telephone or the telegram lines between railroad stations back in the 1800s. Like, "Oh my God, do you know what this means?" And now we're at 5G, and I don't give a whatever. And anyways, so I put that in there because if you're too young for this, and I will address this towards the younger people, because this is Dad Teaches, not Dad Rants. What this is a tire stem. And what they've got there are some metal snips. And they're cutting the tire stem off, and it's going to cut right through the valve, and it's going to let all the air out of the tire. Right? So, and just because you have the TPSM sensors in your cars, modern cars anyways, my old hoopties that I don't need. I got the Mark II visual reference set for tire pressure. This is the funny part, it's like, so if you believe this is like blinker fluid, it's like, the muffler bearings, it's like soft spots on the vehicle, soft spots in the armor are, circle and soft spots and all that. Yada, yada, yada. Box of grid squares, This was never meant to be taken seriously. And I think it's because our younger generation just doesn't have the context because they've never been outside. This is why I want to really stress that you need to learn as much as possible. You need to learn context. You need to learn what things are, what things do. You should be able to look around the house and understand, well, even like my ex-girlfriend, I have a stack of pry bars. They're meant for prying. What does she grab? She grabs my chisel set, a $200 chisel set, and starts prying on them and bends them all. Anyways, and she's also the one that says she wanted to organize my shop for me, but she doesn't know what things are, right? And so she would have organized my whole entire shop by color and by size. And you need to have a shop organized by purpose, right? Anyways, you need to find the purpose of things. You need to find the purpose of everything in your kitchen. You need to find the purpose of everything in the office or at school or whatever. And you have to learn to be observant. You have to pay attention. You have to ask critical questions as to, like, what is that thing? I mean, okay, for instance, and this will be an obscure one. Does anybody know what this is? Right here. Anybody know what this is? What if I told you that this is something that's specifically meant to chop the fingers off of people? Would you believe me? Maybe it's just something to cut the end of the cigar off, right? And you could probably chop somebody's finger off on that. You'd have to really squeeze hard. But it could look completely dangerous. You might even hurt yourself if you didn't know what it was. But it's a cigar cutter. This picture right here is funny. It's funny because we understand that the younger generation doesn't know what anything is. I posted it to Facebook. And then, a day later, I get fact-checked. I get fact-checked because it's missing context. No, it's not missing context. All the context is there. It just means that the fact-checkers are some 20-some-year-old guardians of the galaxy don't know what anything means. And then they further fact-checked it and fact-checked it again because it's missing context. And look what it says at the bottom. Fact-check. Yes, tires may have RFID chips. No, the government isn't tracking you. Holy shit. Guys, quit being... Because this is either like the new comedy to where you have to be so oblivious to the world around you that you are, and so ignorant of everything, that your ignorance and your dumbness is the comedy, which this has highlighted in a series of steps over the course of, I don't know, less than a week since I posted this, 4 or 5 days. Your ignorance is fucking hilarious. I can't underestimate how important it is to know about the world. And because everybody thinks that they know and they refuse to look out there. I mean, I teach at the university. So I understand that these kids, you kids getting in there 18, 19 years old, you don't know how to think. You don't know how to ask questions. You don't know how to put 1 + 1 = 2 together by yourself without a 3-semester-hour course on how these two things come together to make another thing. And then we get into more complex things. I teach computer networking, cybersecurity, and these things you will not ever have a complete set of instructions on how everything works in every freaking business. It's impossible. You know, unless it's a business out of your own garage and you spend 6 months, you know, doing all the documentation on building exactly how that works. And if you ever change one thing, you have to redo all the documentation. All of it, because there's so many interconnected pieces, right? You have to be able to learn to think in concepts and ideas and understand flows and patterns. So you don't have to have a series of articulated instructions to tell you what something is. Because what happens at the end of the day, you have a series of articulated instructions. I was going to pull a book down, but it's kind of worthless because I'm not sure if everybody knows what books are anymore. But if you don't have that series of articulated instructions, or you're just like, I don't know, you sound faggy, you know, that's my idiocracy reference there. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, would you please just make it for the next 8 to 10 years, learn about everything you can. Put the phone down, put that Xbox controller down, and just learn what things are. Learn to use your hands. Learn to get scrapes and bumps and bruises and cuts. Learn to take things apart and put them back together. Learn to pay attention. You want to learn to pay attention? Go get a used lawnmower engine and take it apart. And then you have to put it back together and make it work. Because if you don't pay attention to how it came apart, at the end of the day, you're just going to have a pile of parts. And then you'll be like, oh, I'm just going to throw it away. You know, it's easy to take things apart. It's hard to put things together if you don't know how things work, right? So get a small engine. It's a small engine. It's got maybe less than 100 parts to it. And you can learn how to pay attention on how things go together, what the purposes of things are. You can look things up. What's a carburetor? What's a cylinder head? Why, you know, what's this thing inside the cylinder? You know, what's that cylinder that rod at the bottom connect to? You know, and this and that. You can learn all of these things very easily. But you have to quit being lazy. This fact-checking nonsense it shows the level of the complete lack of education of our younger generation. Because somebody my age, or even 10 years younger than me, this is funny. But any of you from like 30 and below, and unfortunately you're the fact checkers of the world, you can't fact check anything because you're morons. And that's what makes it funny. Have a nice day.